This week's AEW Dynamite was a stacked show that featured a title match main event as well as a major debut. We also saw CM Punk in action against Woodlow, and the legendary Matt Hardy wrestled Penta and Miedo in single actor. Big Star also made his return, and we got another great matchup between Shida and Deeb. So let's get straight into it. And Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish came down to the ring to kick off the show. Cole said that 2021 had been a great year for the Freeze and promised that things would be better this year for the trio. Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler came down to ring. There was clearly some tension between the Bucks and UA. Fish and O'Reilly revealed their intentions to win the tag titles, and when the Best Friends music hit, Cole took down Cassidy in the middle of the ring, leading to a scuffle. Cole blindsided Cassidy with a low blow when Chris Statlander came down and Britt Baker came out. Cole then finished Cassidy off with a boom to end the segment. And let's see where this goes with Cole and Baker. But yeah, this was definitely an interesting start to Dynamite, and one I enjoyed. Before we got CM Punk versus Wardlow. Wardlow dominated the opening moments using his size and strength, while the Pinnacle member rained down rights. He saw a GTS from Punk coming though, and Punk blocked the powerbomb, but Wardlow replied with multiple shoulder charges. When Punk got back into the ring, Wardlow punched and rained in, stopped on the corner. Wardlow went for a powerbomb, but Punk countered with a roundhouse kick. He followed up with a rising knee strike in the corner, but Punk got distracted by MJF, who was at ringside. He followed up with a second powerbomb before hitting another one. Wardlow then hit a fourth and a fifth and went to pin him. MJF got on the apron and stopped the count, saying that he wanted more. Wardlow followed the sixth and seventh up. MJF then cleaned the timekeeper's table and wanted Wardlow to powerbomb Punk through the table. Punk then managed to just beat the 10 count. Before MJF urged Wardlow to keep powerbombing Punk, but the former WWE star rolled out Wardlow to pick up the win. And yeah, this was really interesting. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It did a great job, kept Punk's winning record intact, increased the tension between Wardlow and MJF, and it made Wardlow look like an absolute beast. So yeah, this was an outstanding segment, really enjoyed it. So we got Powerhouse Hobbs versus Dante Martin. Martin sent Hobbs crashing to the outside early on. He then went for a dive outside, but Hobbs caught him in midair and hit a spine buster onto the floor. Hobbs then tossed Dante back into the ring and took control. Dante hit a few lefts and rights in desperation, but Hobbs took him down with a clothesline. The team house member then tried to lock in a torch rack, but Dante broke free. He couldn't capitalise on the opening as Hobbs took him down with a crossbody. Hobbs then Irish whipped Dante so hard that into the corner he went crashing out of the ring. Back in the ring, Powerhouse Hobbs hit a big move, a sidewalk slam, before Dante Martin finally found an opening. Hobbs was quickly taken down. As Ricky Starks tried to get involved again, Lethal came out and stopped him. Martin used it to hit Hobbs with a springboard moonsault to pick out the win. Did not see this coming, but yeah, it's a really fun match. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Before Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle were backstage with Alex Marvez on Dynamite. Jericho sent a warning to 2.0 not to get involved in the main event. Kingston interrupted and insinuated that Santana and Ortiz weren't tag champs because of Jericho. This was clear underlying tension between Kingston and the champion, and I'm really looking forward to that match when it comes. Before MJF called out CM Punk, saying that Wardlow powerbombed him into the video. MJF said that next week Punk would take on Sean Spears. Before the Super Elite and Redragon were backstage, Cole said that they had whooped Best Friends repeatedly. Britt Baker then challenged Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander to a mixed tag team match next week, and yeah, that would be a great match. Before the AEW World Champion was out and saying that he slayed the Dragon in 90 minutes, he added that it was a new year and he wants to keep his records clean. Dan Lambert then interrupted Hangman Page and acknowledged that while he was the world champion, Punk wasn't a real cowboy, and told him to stop disgracing legacies of famous wrestlers. Lance Archer's music hit, and it looked like he was going to go after Dan Lambert before he went after Page. Archer set up a chair in the middle of the ring and hit Page with a blackout through it. It clearly looks like Lance Archer will be the next challenger, and yeah, really great to see him back. And yeah, maybe just his last challenger, Hangman, before the pay-per-view. Well, maybe you take on Adam Cole. That seems to be the direction it's going. And yeah, but it's great to see Lance Archer back. This was a really, really good segment. Arn Anderson was backstage with Lee Johnson and Brock Anderson. They were interrupted by FTR and Tully Blanchard. FTR challenged Brock Anderson and Lee Johnson to a match next week on Dynamite. I mean, it'll be fine, but I can't say I'm particularly looking forward to it. But there we go. Before we got Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida next up. Deeb attacked Shida from behind while she was making her entrance. And went right after Deeb. When the match officially started, it was all Deeb in the opening stages. She continued working on the knee. Deeb used her experience to systematically break down Shida. Serena then locked in the Serenity Lock and forced her out. Dee then brought a kendo stick into the ring while the medical team was checking on Sheeda. She repeatedly smashed it. Referees came out to restrain her, and this was exactly what the doctor ordered. A quick win for Serena Deeb, just re-establish her, and that's exactly what it did perfectly. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Before Christian Cage was backstage with the tag champs, Jungle Boy said that they were ready to face any challenges when the Dark Order interrupted them, and Jungle Boy said he and Luchasaurus accepted the challenge before we got Matt Hardy versus Penta at 0M. Penta started with a low kick before Matt Hardy came back with a series of overhead chops. Penta then replied with a thrust kick, kicking Matt Hardy to roll out the ring. Luchador went for a dive, but Hardy stopped him with a right hand. Matt then leaped off the middle rope before Penta hit back with a boot across the chest. The former Impact champion went for a fear factor, but Matt Hardy countered with DDT. Penta then replied with a double stomp. Both men exchanged corners, exchanged strikes before Matt went for a side effect. Matt Hardy then went for a moonsault, but Penta rolled out of the way. The Luchador capitalised and hit Hardy with a fear factor for the win. Penta was cutting a post-match promo when Black came out and attacked Alex Abrahantes before focusing on Penta. Malachi went for a tear, took his mask off when Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. ran out. Black looked like he was outnumbered when Brody King came out to make his AEW debut and destroyed it. And yeah, this is exactly what I think we need to re-establish the Malachi Black character. That's going to be some duo, Black and King. Really can't wait to see where that goes. Next up was the Acclaim versus Bear Country. Bear Country used their size and strength early on in Dynamite, dominating the AD stages. Bowens tagged in Caster, who hit Bear Bronson with a crossbody. At the end of the match saw Bear County go for the bear bomb. Bowens pulled Caster out of the way. He then sent Bronson crashing out of the ring. Caster then hit Bear Boulder with a mic drop elbow to pick up the win. And yeah, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. To be honest, I wasn't a massive fan of this. It kind of felt like it could have been used for something else on the card, but Sting's music here as the Acclaim were leaving the arena, and he made short work attacking Caster. I didn't really add much, but anyway, there we go. Before we got Sammy Gavara versus Daniel Garcia. The match was off to a fast start as neither competitor held back. Garcia took down Sammy with a right hand and a stiff kick before Sammy retaliated with a palm strike before heading over for a dive over the top rope, catching Garcia on the head. Back in the ring, Sammy hit an overhead chop in the corner and countered with a backbreaker. Garcia then took control of the match and quickly locked in a bow and arrow move, taking Sammy down. Gavara hit back with an enziguri, forcing Garcia to roll over the ring. Undeterred, Sammy hit a springboard dive before Sammy was in control at this point as he rolled Garcia back out. Garcia then attempted a roll out but before going for the GTH. Garcia countered and hit a sharpshooter, but Sammy managed to crawl to the bottom rope. Gavara then hit Garcia with a crossroads, but it wasn't enough to pull the challenger away. He went to finish Garcia off with the springboard cutter, but Garcia caught him in a chokehold. At this point, 2.0 attacked Eddie Kingston and Jericho at ringside. Gavara went for the GTH, but Jeff Parker got on the apron for a distraction. Sammy knocked him off before sending Garcia crashing into Matt Lee. Gavara then hit the GTH to pick up the win in the chaos. 2.0 attack the inner circle after the match. Jericho and Kingston got in each other's faces as the show went off the air. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Decent enough match. Did we really need shenanigans in it? I'm not too sure. But on the whole, it is what it is. It was a perfectly fine segment. Overall this week, Dynamite gets 7 out of 10 from me. Yeah, really love this Dynamite. I thought maybe it kind of tailed off the last half an hour or so, but except for that, it was just a brilliant Dynamite, and even the last bit wasn't terrible at all. It was just a really brilliant TV show. So yeah, outstanding, loved it. But anyway guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, leave your thoughts, comments down below, follow us to the description for daily wrestling news, and subscribe to my channel on the screen right now, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.